Did y'all hear about the nurses on strike next door in Boston, Massachusetts? Well, in case you missed it, the news said 4,000 nurses walked out demanding higher pay and better benefits. Take a look.
This was a strike that was only supposed to last one day, 7 a.m. Wednesday to 7 a.m. Thursday, and then these workers would return to work. So on cue, Thursday morning, these workers walked straight up to this door.
Okay, so at this time, the bargaining nurses are not allowed to return to work until the scheduled return work day and time, which is July 13th at 7 a.m. This was communicated by the hospital on Monday. So please report to duty at that time of work at your work areas. You should plan to return to work in your designated work time. So anybody that has a problem or has with paychecks, access badges, they are to contact HR. Okay, or your employee
It's 6:59. Our strike is over. We'd like to return to work and take care of our patients.
Right, like I said, the hospital stated on Monday what their position is, so we're locked down. Okay.
Again, what about the patients? We want to take care of our patients. Let us return to work.
I'm afraid there's no more comment. Okay.
Let us in.
I can't do that. I can't
Let
do that.
us in.
And you know that.
Let us in! Let us in! Let us in! Let us in! Let us in!
The hospital system telling these workers they are not allowed to return until July 13th because the hospital wants to honor the 5-day contract that they gave to the temporary nurses. These workers fighting for more money, better benefits, and what they call improved working conditions. They've been fighting for this for the past couple months. In fact, they've been at the negotiating table more than 20 times, and here we are without a deal. The hospital system saying, quote, "We believe the latest offer appropriately recognizes our nurses' important contributions while balancing our responsibility to sustain patient care and our broader mission for the long term." These nurses aren't buying it. And so the largest nurse and healthcare workers strike in state history continues.
I'm sorry, I had to laugh. First of all, y'all wasn't thinking about them damn patients when y'all walked out. Now y'all begging and screaming to open them doors when them checks got cut off. Now, here's an update from that video I just showed you guys. So apparently, when this strike started, this was back on Wednesday, July the 8th of this year. And approximately 4,000 nurses walked out, as you can see from the video, which created the largest strike in Massachusetts history, which is crazy. During this strike, that hospital, which was the Brigham and Women's Hospital, they hired about 1,800 temporary nurses and clinicians to cover those people's shifts that they were missing because of this strike. And then finally, here we go, July the 13th, a few days ago, they decided to conclude the strike. Now, did they get anything out of it? I don't know. But from what I've been reading on the news, the union reps of the nurses that went on strike, they're working diligently to come up with better pay, from what my understanding is, and better benefits. Apparently, they say they've been lowballed at that hospital. So I said, let me do a little digging on their salaries to see how bad it really is. Child, I read the Boston Herald, which is like a news outlet for Boston, and it said online that the highest paid nurse at that hospital earned over $400,000 in 2025. That was a year ago. So I said, wait a minute. These women wasn't getting lowballed. What y'all bothering for? If I was making over $400K, I'd keep my mouth shut. But then it said the top 100 nurses earned about $300K a year, which is still not bad. Now, I know the cost of living is high as hell in Boston. I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but I know that you better be making close to 6 figures or more just to survive, because it's that expensive. It's like New York. Now their CEO, get this, y'all gonna be mad when y'all hear this salary. That CEO of that hospital I found out is making 8.4 million a year. That is a lot of money. I said, hold on. There is a disparity here we got going on. Hold on. Excuse me. I said, so the CEO is basically a millionaire, but the nurses, who are basically the worker bees that run that hospital, keep it going, are in fact kind of getting lowballed, if you ask me. Even though they have very high salaries compared to the CEO, now I kind of understand why they went on strike. The allergies is kicking my butt. But yeah, I'm just like this, I feel that everybody should be grateful for any type of salary that they get. However, when it comes to certain fields in high demand, like nursing, which is really important, that everybody needs, that runs around the clock 24/7, 365 days a week with no holidays, yeah, they should get more incentives. What people fail to realize, because I don't know much about the medical field, never been in it, just looking from the outside in, working at various clinics and hospitals, I can understand the stress, the financial struggles, when it comes to like nursing. Because if you think about it, when they start off, coming fresh out of college, they start doing like their internships or whatever you call it, they don't get paid a lot of money. They literally have to work their way up and build themselves up. They're not going to just get a fresh 90K off the bat starting salary unless they're like in some type of technical field, like anesthesiology, for example. They get over 100K. I know that for sure. They get the big bucks, yeah. But if it's someone like a RN or something, or God forbid a CNA, yeah, they're way underpaid. For the people, the CNAs, I call them shit wipers. For the people that wipe ass, they should be getting paid buku incentives, because that is a dirty job that nobody wants to do. I feel like, when you work in those type of environments where it's like high stress, dirty environments, you're dealing with pee, blood, poo, all the above, you definitely need more incentives. They don't get enough recognition for all the hard work that they do. And I commend all of the people in the medical field, no matter what your position is. You ain't even got to be a nurse. You could be a janitor, for crying out loud. If you are part of the medical field, kudos. Because not enough people are going to do that job. I'm gonna be honest. I feel sorry for the janitors, because the janitors get treated like shit. I ain't gonna lie. They're the worst. The last time I checked, in Texas, a janitor inside of a hospital is making at minimum close to about 14, 15, maybe 16 an hour at best. And if they're lucky, they might get 20 an hour. It depends, but minimum wage is bad. It's horrible. But yeah, nurses are definitely getting paid on the higher end. Just like I said, it depends on what field they're in, what specialty. I know radiologists get paid buku dollars too. But here's my other thing though. Why did it take them so long to come up with a resolution with their union reps? That's my question. Why did it take damn near 2 weeks almost for them to say y'all could go back to work? We finally made a decision on y'all's demand for higher pay and better benefits. I didn't see nothing of an update of any sort saying that they agreed upon anything. All I know is that they went back to work on July 13th. I don't think anything really got resolved. I honestly think they were at home without pay for about a week. Some of them might get that pay back, because a lot of these nurses at certain hospitals are travel nurses. So they get per diem regardless of the situation. Now, if they're not a travel nurse, then no, they're not entitled to per diem. But at the end of the day, I'm just like this. I'm all for the strike. Like I said, I'm all for social justice. I'm all for, standing up for what's right and fighting for your rights. At the end of the day, when you know you gotta pay bills, you gotta put food on the table, you have a family to take care of, God forbid, you have children and a husband or a wife at home, you better brace yourself and prepare for the worst, knowing that your check is about to get cut off during a strike. People don't see the consequences until it really affects them when their monies gets cut off, when they decide to go on strike and picket. Like I said, it's your right. You can do what you want to do. You grown. But just know what comes with a strike. You know, people don't really deep dive into the effects of what happens on a strike. You don't get any guaranteed wages. You don't get any guaranteed time off. You're on LWOP, leave without pay. And you lucky if you still have your job. And the only reason those nurses still have their jobs, to be honest, is the union. Had they not been protected by a union, all the nurses would have been gone, fired. But because majority of the hospitals in America have unions and union reps, or union stewards, whatever you want to call them, they're going to be protected regardless. The same thing with the post office. In case you didn't know, the post office is protected by a union as well. Every postal station has a union rep or a union steward. And anytime you have a problem with somebody, it can be as high as the postmaster of the whole entire USPS. It don't matter whose position it is. All you have to do is go to the union rep and complain. And be like, I'm not getting enough hours. So-and-so said I had to take time off. I had to take a shortcut, or I had to take a pay cut or whatever. That union rep gonna step in and fight. That's the catch. What a lot of companies now, what they're doing, they're not implementing union stewards. They're not putting union reps in big corporations. A lot of companies I've noticed that are, with union reps and like union stewards or whatever you call them, they're mostly either in the medical field or the warehouse field, like supply. I noticed like logistics, for example, they all have unions. Why? Because it's a very high demand for warehouse workers. Nobody wants to do that damn job. And it's very stressful and they're hella underpaid, I might add. For example, the average Amazon worker gets about $20 an hour minimum wage. Now, depending on the state, it could be higher. I know in places like California, they might be getting 25. Hell, some of them might be getting 30 an hour. But look at the cost of living in California. That's why they're getting a lot of money. Now, if you live somewhere like in the South, yeah, you're going to get lowballed real fast. They're going to pay you about 15 to 17 an hour. And something like Amazon Flex, which is like part-time, is most likely going to be about 15, 16 an hour. If you're lucky, you might see 18 at best. But it just goes to show you, like, it doesn't matter what, field you're in. You're going to have some type of chaos, some type of corruption. And then this is what happens. People get fed up with the bullshit and they go on strike. Not realizing they're hurting themselves in the end, because now you have a target on your back, but they can't fire you if you're protected, again, by a union rep. But I'm just like, more power to all the nurses that walked out. It couldn't be me. It couldn't have been me. Even though I live alone and I ain't got no kids or nothing, I need my check, okay? Because, and then I found out, according to the news, some of the nurses, not all of them, have remained to stay on strike. I'm not sure why, but majority of the nurses that went on strike went back to work. But I just like, damn, the world is really going crazy out here. It just makes you really think, if it's bad right now, what is it going to look like in 5 years? When it comes to like these jobs and salaries and wages and demanding higher pay and demanding better benefits. I just don't get it. I feel like strikes are never going to end. It's just like the movie business. Remember when the actors went on strike and the writers went on strike because they're trying to use AI to take acting jobs away from actual human beings to replace them because it's cheaper costs in Hollywood. That happened back in 2023. I ain't never seen nothing like that. They said the very last time that Hollywood went on strike to demand higher pay and better wages and to kick out AI from replacing like the extras and stuff like that and the stand-ins. They said, I think the very last strike in Hollywood was like back in like 1960 something or 1950 something. It was way back when. I can't exactly remember the year, but that was the very last time that Hollywood had a strike. But yeah, all these different industries of work, it's like now everybody is playing a numbers game. You either take it or you leave it. Because at this point, I feel like it's pointless to negotiate salary. Unless you are just getting on board and you're a new person, yeah, feel free to try to negotiate. They may not budge. They may go up a few dollars, but they may not budge. Now, unless you have a competing organization or a competing company that wants you really bad and they have a very high salary, that's when you stick it to the person that onboarded you and be like, hey, this company is offering this amount of money versus what you offered. I think I'm about to go over here versus over here. Then that's a different story that they might comply if you're lucky. Now, it's very rare that most companies do comply with negotiation with salaries. But if they see that you're a very valuable asset to that organization, then yeah, they're going to comply. They're going to bring you on board with a higher salary if you demand it, yeah. But it all depends, like I said, on what's going on. It depends on, as far as like if the company is like a Fortune 500 company, if they actually have money, if they have the budget to expand, then yeah, they can do it. Because I'm pretty sure majority of these companies, especially in government, they're making well over in the millions. Oh, and did I mention, I think I mentioned this earlier, did I mention that CEO of that hospital makes $8.4 million a year for his salary? 8.4 million. I'll be damned. I said, that is just some sick shit. Like, basically, the CEO can be a millionaire, but then the people below him cannot. That makes no sense. If you're gonna be fair across the board. That's all I'm saying. If the CEO, I feel like, is a millionaire and he's making well over $5 million a year, then those nurses need to be making at least close to $1 million a year. I'm just saying, that's how I feel. But in reality, you have a thing called fiscal budget. And if the fiscal budget doesn't match the salaries, then they're not going to pay them regardless. Or they're going to have what's called budget cuts and cut back. And then that's when the layoffs come and they start laying off workers and all this other nonsense. And then they give you severance packages. It happened to me. I worked for a medical company for almost a year in Texas. And I ended up going through a major transformation, a company-wide layoff. Half of the staff got laid off, and I was just a medical receptionist. I wasn't even a nurse, and I still got laid off. But yet, they came with the severance package. They gave me about 2 weeks' pay, which wasn't shit. But I was thankful I had a severance package at the end of the day, even though I wasn't an actual medical person. But because I was part of that hospital, everybody was entitled to a severance package, no matter what position you were in. They don't care if you was a janitor, you was gonna get something. But yeah, long story short, I feel like the strike just brought a lot of national news attention to that hospital in Boston. I don't think anything really got done, if you ask me, because I've been digging and digging and digging for updates on reports on what actually was agreed upon, and I ain't seen none yet. None. But if I see something, I'll keep you guys posted and I'll let you know. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below about all this, because it's a lot of chaos going on around the world, and I feel like we are really the bottom of the barrel in America. I really do, because I don't see no other countries complaining and going on strike about higher paying jobs. I only see stuff in America doing this mess. But if I'm wrong, let me know.